off today. Have done for the last few days, really. Weird thing, on Tuesday, which was my last shift at work, I was on my way back. I'd got some shopping, laid it down with bags and stuff, so couldn't afford a taxi. And I was on my way back, and about halfway here, there was this weird guy on the other side of the road, and well, he looked like he was in trouble, so I figured I'd go and ask if he was okay, see if there was anyone I could call or anything, and I don't know, he just went kind of mad at me. Started chasing after me. I couldn't run very fast because I had the bags on me and stuff, but anyway, eventually he caught up to me and I got bit on the arm, which is just weird. And anyway, managed to push him off and get away from him and got home and wrapped up the wound. It still itches a bit. I can't seem to get it to stop bleeding, but there we go. Anyway, just been feeling a bit under the weather since, but I'm sure it's just like, I don't know, shock or something maybe. Anyway, but the show must go on, as they say, and here I am with a special Halloween themed Let's Rank of my favourite top 10 horror movies of all time. It's not a ranking necessarily of which ones I find the scariest necessarily, it's just 10 horror movies that I would place at the top. Here we go. Number 10 on this list is a sci-fi horror movie called Event Horizon, starring Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Neill. I do find the subject of hell to be particularly terrifying, so the idea of a ship that goes to hell and then comes back from it and brings a part of it with it is one that scares me quite a bit, really. The performances, I think, by Sam Neill and Lawrence Fishburne, while at times maybe a little bit over the top, are excellent, and the same with the rest of the cast as well. And there are some truly very creepy and certainly truly very terrifying scenes in this movie. It's always one that I've enjoyed ever since the first time I saw it, and it scared the pants off me. Number 9 on this list is Paranormal Activity. So again, it's on the subject of demons, and you would imagine that come from hell. So this guy buys a video camera and he records them moving into a new house, him and his girlfriend, should I say, moving into a new house together. You see in like strange goings on, like, and just moments of extreme creepiness and things that leave you feeling very unsettled. And that's the best word that I can use to describe this movie, is it leaves you feeling quite unsettled, or it did me anyway, pretty much start to finish. There's a few moments of camera silence which are incredibly well used, I think, in this film, and really, really work. Very, very effective use of horror techniques, I think, and yeah, overall, very, very good film. Shame about the ones that followed it though. Number 8, we've got more of a classic movie here. We've got Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. So this isn't a movie about supernatural forces or aliens or demons or ghosts or anything like that. This is a movie about just how horrific human beings can get. You get a woman who you think is the main character of the film, who comes along to the Bates Motel, and you know, she's running from some trouble that she got into. Stays the night in this motel, and then there's that infamous shower scene, which is kind of iconic for the horror genre, I think. The whole way that the movie ends, again, I'm going to use this word, is very, very unsettling. This is what I find scary in movies, not blood and guts and gore. What makes an effective horror movie is that feeling of dread that you get when you're watching it, that feeling of being unsettled and not comfortable, and it really puts you on the edge from start to finish. And this movie does get that very, very well, and it's always been a favourite of mine. So anyway, number 7, excuse me, we have The Blair Witch Project. So, group of teens, young adults, to make a bit of a documentary about a witch that supposedly lives in these woods. They go out there and they get lost. They have no idea how to find their way out again. Creepy things start happening at night. Members of the group start disappearing, and slowly but surely you just see this group of what were very close and tight friends to begin with, or seem to be anyway, just become more and more unhinged, and they're blaming each other. They're having a go at people for still using the camera. Why are you still using the camera? Why are you recording this? It's like just little bits like that where they hang a lantern on things that otherwise would maybe take you out of it a little bit, and they use that in the movie, and it builds the tension all the way throughout, and utilizes that sense of dread and that sense of being unsettled. I'm using that word a lot, aren't I? That sense of being unsettled all the way throughout, really, really well. So there it is, number 7 on the list. Number 6, another classic horror movie, this time from George A. Romero, The Zombie King, is Dawn of the Dead. Now, I imagine that a lot of zombie movie fans would, especially the George Romero fans, would criticise me for saying Dawn of the Dead over, say, Night of the Living Dead, which was the first one. The reason why Dawn of the Dead is at number 6 is because of one line, and that one line is, "When there's no more room in hell, the dead shall walk the earth." And it's that implication behind that line, the very fact that if you understand the concept of hell, obviously it's if you live a bad life here on earth and you do bad things and all of that, you go to hell when you die. And it's that implication that over the years so many people have lived these bad lives and lived these selfish lives and done bad things with their lives, things that wouldn't get you into heaven, and the opposite, that hell has just become full and can't hold any more, and so it's spilling out into everywhere, which for me is quite an implication, really. And overall, just the storytelling, I think they could have ended it better, but overall it's a great movie, and it even goes into the more real world implications of things like consumerism. They hold up in a mall, and all the zombies are drawn to the mall because it was such an important part of their life when they were alive and human. Anyway, the next movie on the list, number 5, The Thing, with Kurt Russell, the original. I haven't seen the other one. It was one of those movies which, if it didn't get banned when it got released, it probably maybe should have been, because it goes that far with the amount of gore that you see in the movie. But like all good movies that utilise gore, it doesn't focus on the gore. The gore isn't the primary force driving it forward like it is with, or it can be with, a lot of modern day horror movies that utilise it. It's how badly these people deal with it, and how mistrustful they become of each other, and how far they are indeed willing to go to survive this thing, the thing that's threatening their lives and basically threatening the world, really. And it ends, for me, in the most frustrating but the most, at the same time, weirdly satisfying way as well. Excuse me. Most frustrating but most satisfying way, which is you've got the two characters who survive the whole thing at the end. They believe that they've destroyed the thing, but they're not entirely sure, and they're both just sat there next to each other, and you're like, how's this going to go down? Is one of them the alien? Are neither of them the alien? Are they going to kill each other? Are they going to sit there? I believe you actually find out what happens to them in the follow-up, in the more recent The Thing. Anyway, the next one is The Exorcist. This movie was actually banned when it originally came out, and for the time anyway, for very good reason, because of it does go very, very far when it's putting across its horror aspects. It's a terrifying prospect, it's a terrifying subject, which is made even more terrifying and scary by the fact that you're talking about a little girl being possessed and affected by this malevolent entity that just wants to mess people up, basically. And like I say, it was banned originally, and when you watch it nowadays, you can tell why, because you watch it nowadays and you can even think, now that's a little bit too far. But because of how well the story is told, and because of how well it's performed all the way throughout, and I think anyway directed as well, I can't not put it on the list of my favourite horror movies. It's one that really sticks in my mind. And the next movie on this list is The Shining. So the movie adaptation of Stephen King's classic book. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I've read The Shining and I've seen the movie, and the book is a lot better. It tells the story a lot better. But the movie does a very, very good job of bringing it to the screen. It's another story about the failings, I guess, of humanity, really, but with a paranormal, supernatural twist to it. So Jack Torrance, played brilliantly by Jack Nicholson, is affected by these ghosts or these entities that exist at this hotel, while he and his family are basically acting as caretakers, while it's closed down over the non-holiday period, the winter period. And so they're there alone out in the sticks, away from civilization in general, and he just starts going slowly crazy and insane because of what these entities are doing to him. And it does an incredible job of portraying the story, and like I say, the performances are all excellent. So right, number 2, we have yet another arguably classic horror movie. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Jaws. Big part of the reason why is because it's given me a fear of going into the ocean, which has lasted to this day. The ocean, the idea of the ocean and exploring it absolutely fascinates me. Not as much as going out into space, but it does. And this movie gave me a very real fear of going out into the water, into the sea. And it's not something that I do very often until this day. So here I'm making a revelation about one of my fears. It's the ocean. And, and when a movie can do that, and when it can also tell a good story, and again have great direction and great casting and great performances throughout the movie, you know you've got something special on your hands, and that's what Jaws is, and that's why it's here at number 2. And number 1, my favourite, definitely without a shadow of a doubt, horror movie of all time, is a movie which had a very simple but very effective tagline: in space, no one can hear you scream. I am of course talking about Ridley Scott's Alien. Alien, it's claustrophobic throughout. The tension that you get watching this movie, and that you see in the performances that are given by all the actors in this movie, especially Sigourney Weaver, of course. It's another thing that stays with you. It's truly terrifying, and even at the end of the film, even before any sequels or anything like that has possibly even been dreamed of, certainly not been announced, you get the feeling that things aren't quite over for Ellen Ripley, and indeed they aren't. So there it is. Anyway, my list, my top 10 favourite horror movies of all time. Aliens. If you haven't seen it, I'd just go ahead and watch it, and make sure you turn out the lights and have a blanket covering you that you can hide behind in all the more scary bits. I'm starting to feel a little bit sick, so I'm going to wrap it up now. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave a comment in down below to let me know what your favourite horror movies are. Please, if you want to see more videos, drop me a like or a subscribe. And again, thanks for watching.